Howdy. So I know it's been a minute. We were traveling and spending time with family, and it's kind of hard to find those moments when you only have small little moments. But it's funny because when we were on our way there, my dad had printed out a map, old school navigation, right? Well, his daughter had to pull out her tech way of let's just use maps. And it's funny, once he knew where he was going, his foot got heavy. You talk about flying down the road and a couple near-death experiences, and we all just laughed. We all needed to laugh. But I'm in the back seat going, "You're going to turn left right here." And he goes, "Right here? No, left. Here. Right here? Left. Left now! Right here!" He's driving, right? He's looking at the road. I'm looking on my map. I can't see what he sees. He almost turns into a pole, a median, a truck. And tries to blame me, and we're dying laughing. I'm like, I can't see what you see. I'm just telling you where you need to turn. And the funny thing is, we could have always turned back around. So, with this message as a warning, just because you know where you're going doesn't mean to fly through. Because remember, the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady wins the race, compared to, I know where I'm going, I know where I'm going, I have time to take breaks, and then you fall asleep, and next thing you know, you didn't make it in time. So just remember, it's okay to know where you're going, right? It's okay to say, I'm going, this is where I'm at, this is my plan, my goals, that's my destination. Because the one thing we forget, there's detours along the way. There's construction along the way. There's lessons to be learned to help us get from that point to our ending point. And when you're going so fast, you're going to miss it, and you're going to have to go back to the beginning. And I don't think people realize you can set yourself back. You can set yourself back with the company you keep. You can set yourself back with the ego that you have. You can set yourself back with just the, I know. I used to be bad about somebody would tell me something and I'd be like, I know. And over time I had to learn to say, oh, that's interesting. Or allow them to have the chance to feel like they were maybe teaching me something. And sometimes I was too arrogant and didn't listen. I didn't want to be taught. Who are you to tell me? And it's taken a lot of humbling that egoic spirit, that know-it-all and controlling attitude. Because believe me, once you've been in an abusive relationship and you get out of it, you become quite controlling. It's hard because you don't want to allow others to affect you the way that you allowed somebody that you trusted to affect you. So when you get to this point, you have to learn to trust yourself again. You have to learn to also trust your navigator, that higher power, which means you have to clear out the muck and open up the gateway. Your intuition, your heart, your mind, they all work together. That trio, that magical little trio. But you can't rely on just one, because your heart can lead you astray and your mind can block you from opportunities. So when you get to the point of, I know where I'm going, I know what I want, set your goals, small steps, little at a time. Because remember, slow and steady wins the race. If not, you could possibly run into a telephone pole you're looking at. It's still ironic of how our trip played out. First day I planned everything and it was on a whim, right? We had a blast. It was stuff we had originally said, we're going to try to do this and try to do that. Just didn't go to the locations we had planned. Second day it was already planned out. That day ended up not being so great, but I also got sick. We ate so much food. My son was so hungry, poor guy. He's a teenager, very tall, low BMI because he's so tall, and just wanting to eat and eat and eat. That's one reason he joined the military. He saw the food they had to offer. So you can join something for certain reasons, right? And those can often be exactly what you wanted. But there's also little things around the corner you never saw. Like with him, it was the hardships of boot camp. It was the being away from family. It was missing the holidays. Seeing me sad. And it was really hard to be strong as a mom. Because when your kids leave, you'll understand. When they're with you, it's funny. God, I wish I could just have a break. I just wish they would leave for a minute. And we get to these moments where we forget time is going and things are going to change. And it's hard to embrace those moments, especially when you're exhausted, stressed out, strapped for cash. Just there's little instances that make us forget that now is temporary. And the future is not that far ahead. And that things change. Things will always change. But the way that our children grow and change is by the way that we guide them. And I think a lot of people forget. Either you're raising them or the world is raising them. You can try to put your 2 cents in. But when you have released them to, I call it the wolves, then you really are going to have a hard time getting back in alignment with them being your child. And I guess this is a message kind of for parents at the moment. That just because they're with you and they're driving you insane doesn't mean to allow that moment to just make you wish them gone. There was a Twilight Zone episode I saw one time. And this guy had a family, was always overwhelmed by them, and he had a little soft, like a pocket watch. But when he clicked it, it would freeze time. And he didn't realize as he's freezing time, it's sailing through, and the only thing not moving is himself. So then when he'd unclick it, he's like, whoa, they're older. What happened? He fast forwarded through his whole life. He never even experienced it. And we can actually do that by going to sleep in our minds. It's almost like this too shall pass, this too shall pass, this too. You just keep thinking it's the worst thing in the world, right? I can't handle this. I don't want to do this. I'm so sick and tired of this. And before you know it, you're like, everything's changed. I don't even fit in with everything around me anymore. It's okay to go into hermit mode. It's okay to pull back and consider what you need to consider. It's okay to make plans for your life, but allow for distractions, construction, detours, all the things that are there to kind of test you to see how big is your willpower, right? What are you willing to put forth? There are sacrifices you have to make to get from point A to point B. Even on this trip, the sacrifice was the luxury of being comfortable, right? Luckily, it was a big laugh fest the whole way there. But like I said, the whole way back, for me, at one point, I'm just like, oh my God. Mom's looking at me, are you okay? Mm-mm. I don't even know if I'm going to make it into the store. And then, things start panning out. And it's a matter of listening to others. Because everyone knows how I can't stand white coats. I can't stand pills. I don't care if it's Tylenol, naproxen, tried baking soda the first day in water. It doesn't matter. I've always been somebody that's like, I don't want to go that route. And I finally had to listen to my mommy and my daddy. And it started helping. And of course it went against what I'm comfortable with. But had I listened and been controlling in my own right, like, it's going to go away, I could have ended up in the hospital. And sometimes there are people that are wiser than we are, and we have to say, okay, I'm going to trust you. I know you've been through this before. I know that I can't see the situation for what it is in the moment because I'm in it. It's always easier when you're the person on the outside looking in. Looking in. So understand, just like you can look in other people's lives and be like, it's so simple, why don't they just choose this? They can look in yours and see the same thing. If we'd all just start listening, it doesn't mean you have to take somebody's advice. It doesn't mean you have to change or waver on your stance in life. But to go to the drawing board and say, oh, okay, somebody else has some experience in this area. Take from that. Knowledge is meant to be shared. Working together is meant to happen. There are no great leaders that are the only leaders, because the best leaders listen to, I'll call it the congregation. They listen to the people they work with. If you go back in ancient times and you look at a lot of the civilizations that were super prosperous, it was because they were listening to the civilians, the people that they ruled over, the people that they watched over. So if you're at a point in your life and you think that no one can tell you anything, you need to lessen that ego, get rid of the arrogance, and understand that we're all tied together. We can all help each other along our paths. No, we're not on the same journey. No, we're not always going to be on the same path, but you're going to meet people that help you get back in alignment, that help you push forward. You know, my son told me about how he had a breakdown and recalled the name of the person, of how he helped him through it. He was sick quite a bit when he was in boot camp. A lot of them were, between the weather and the medicine and the shots they have to get. Coming from a house of a holistic healthcare mom, it was hard for him. But then the mental strain of not being able to be with his family at any time was very hard. I mean, you have to put yourself in those shoes. What would you do if you couldn't speak to people for almost 2 months? I think we had an hour total split up into conversations, small conversations, phone calls, letters that didn't arrive early enough, and it's hard. You have to find people you can rely on that you don't know, that you learn to trust. That's your soul tribe. Just like with them, it's their flight, right? It's their group. They won't all go on together, but they've built relationships, bonds. I still know a lot of people that have helped me, and they thought that I helped them. Rebecca, if you're watching, you're one of those. You don't forget people that put a mark on your heart. You don't forget people. They might not be around you, but you can always look back and go, I wonder how that person's doing. We have guides everywhere. And it's funny because a lot of you don't realize that you are guides. You are somebody that when you speak, the words that passed your lips were meant to be heard by the person that heard you. Even in boot camp, my son met somebody that has set him off on a financial, intellectual pathway that's going to change his life. He was meant to meet that person. And it's always just, all you can do is sit back and wait. And don't ever ask what's next. Enjoy the moment, because the moment will pass you by. I know there was a lot of whirlwind conversation in that, because that's what I seem to do, right? But I'm going to keep going with my day. Like I said, I've been traveling. I was off for 4 days, and now I'm about to go back to Funny Farm and see where that goes. But sending everybody peace, love, and light. Bye bye.